Ladies and gentlemen, Styling Strings Production. Enjoy the show, it starts now.
Hi, and welcome to Style & Strings String Cheese TV. This is the E-Lacrosse question of the week. The question this week comes from Nick Henley Jr. He plays for the York Suburban Trojans in Pennsylvania. Nick Henley Jr. wants to know, how do you put a proper set of shooting strings in a stick? Well, that's the question for today. Let's go tackle it. Here's your basic mesh pocket, no shooting strings. Let's take care of it. Basically, your shooting strings should be from your hand to your forearm and back. Take your cutters and have at it. I'm going to cut 3 of these at the same size. For the next step, you need a lighter and the cut shooting strings. We're going to go ahead and take the lighter, and we're going to singe the tips of them so that they won't fray once you put them in. Get your parents' permission and maybe even their help before you do this step. After you have your strings cut and singed, it's time to start putting them in. General rule of thumb is you go down to the second open row of diamonds, and that's a good place to start for your first shooting string. Go down to the sidewall, find a good place to tether it in, and on the first shooting string, we're going to pull the straight lace over towards the front of the stick. Find the same spot on the other side of the sidewall and pull it through. Tie it off on any old place, and it really doesn't matter because you're going to go back and untie this in a moment anyway. Now, each shooting string should be on the line where 2 rows of diamonds meet. Take this part and start wrapping it around your straight lace. Go in through the top part and back out through the bottom. In through the top and out through the bottom. Just repeat this process until you reach the end of the stick. Now that you reach the end of the stick, you want to go through and take out all your extra slack. You want to unhitch your knot, and we're going to tie this off with a basic square knot. Right over left, and then left over right, and pull. After you finish each shooting string, I usually cut off the excess. It makes it a little bit easier to work with the rest of the stick. Let's do our second shooting string. Since our knot ended on this side of the first one, we're going to make it end on this side of the second. Now, it's important that we keep 2 diamond spacing the entire way through. The main difference between the first one and the second 2 is that the straight lace comes around the back of the stick. That gives a nice lip at the top of your head off of the first shooting string. So again, just tie it off, line it up, and same process, over and under. An important difference at the end of your second and third shooting string is that when your coil lace comes to an end, we need to make a special note that we put it through the sidewall before we close off with our square knot. Once again, the square knot, it's real simple, real effective. Right over left, and loop it. Left over right, and loop it. Alright guys, almost finished. One more shooting string. Since the knot ended over here for the second, we're going to have it come to the other side for the third. Same process as the second, and pretty much you should have it down by this point. Tether it off. Over and under. Again, just make sure that the end of your shooting string wraps around your sidewall. Square knot, right over left, pull, left over right. Take your lighter, remember, parents' permission. Go through all the tips of all the cut string. Making sure it won't fray. Let's take this thing outside, see how she throws. Now it's time to enjoy the finished product. Before we go though, it's important to mention the factor of whip. Each one of these shooting strings needs to become less and less taut as it goes towards the bottom of the stick. But make sure your top one is tight enough that the ball doesn't touch the plastic on the top of the head. That's really going to throw off your shot. Let's see how she throws. Alright, I think we did a good job. I'm Justin Skaggs, and this has been Stylin' Strings String Cheese, and this is the E-Lacrosse question of the week. Please enter your questions at the email address below, and we'll see if we can get to you. Have a good day, and keep laxing.